By now you've probably seen all the projects from all the incredible mead makers that were involved in the Great Mead Project. If you haven't, there's a playlist in the description here, and it'll be the pinned comment, where you can go check out all the other videos in that list. Once all the projects were done, some of us shipped out bottles, some of us didn't. I didn't because we had a baby and I just lost track of time. But some of us did, and we got to share samples of some of the projects with each other, give tasting notes, and kind of learn about each other's experiences, what we learned, what we did right, what we did wrong, but mostly just sharing our experience navigating these three unusually paired ingredients. So here's that wrap-up video edited down for time, where we got together and talked through our successes, failures, and all the fun we had along the way.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Oh, glad that was recorded for posterity.
Well, we all brewed meads with the same ingredients.
Same idea
Of ingredients, maybe not exactly the same ingredients. I still actually have on the whiteboard.
I was gonna say you should have hung it up, like it's still the original text of the theory.
Yeah. So here's the original.
Mm-hmm.
For all of time.
I think we should go down and just have, first person where we can. I don't care how we do it, but have the person talk about their mead, and if you have their mead on hand, drink some, and then you can make some comments, and then we'll just move on, kind of go down the thing. Charles, will you kick us off, my friend? We've already got a glass of yours at hand.
Look at that clarity, y'all.
That's pretty good.
So pretty.
Well, needless to say, the choice of ingredients was not really one that I had would have preferred making a mead out of. However, I managed to get lucky with the making of mine. There was a recipe on the Department of Agriculture for making a corn, basically a corn mead. And for me, it was just a process of, instead of using the corn kernels, simply using boiling the corn in basically a pot of water and using the corn flavored water as the base for the mead. And then it's just a question of adding the mangoes and the chopping up some habaneros. Later on, I did add some chili flakes, but red pepper flakes rather, but that basically was it. When everything was all said and done, I cleared pretty quickly. Elected not to back sweeten, so I'm kind of curious to see how that went over. It was a bit dry, but not overly dry. But that was pretty much the process that I used in making my bottle.
So did everything go in primary in yours?
Yeah, everything went into primary. I don't do adding fruits or vegetables in secondary yet, because I'm not quite sure I want to add that concept to my viewers on my channel as being more of an advanced step. I'll leave that to Doing the Most, Made Mead, and probably the winemaking
Yeah,
when they're ready to advance the topic.
I personally it is dry, but I do think it's kind of refreshing in that way. You get a lot of pepper side to it, and you do get that corn. Now, it's not like it's one of those things where it's hard for me to be like, we all know that we have corn in our brews, and so we're kind of looking for it. But it's definitely got that. It's not vegetable-y with like what you're talking about, and that's some kind of where my brain goes to first. Is like, if you use quote real corn or any sort of thing like that, is it going to be vegetable-y? I don't get that.
I really enjoyed it when it showed up here. My wife and I, we sat down and really enjoyed it. It was a very nice one. Thank you.
I'm into this. I like the dryness because I was expecting it to be sweet. I saw pasteurized on the label and figured you may have sweetened it and then pasteurized it, but it was like a nice unexpected thing for it to be dry. And I think that supports the pepper flavor really well.
Yeah. So I do want to ask, what's one lesson you learned through this process? I think everybody should have some sort of lesson you learned.
That's because you're a teacher and you always bring out the lesson.
Well, the only lesson that I can say that I've learned from this particular project is not one that you can make a wine out of anything, because I've already learned that you can't. It's that you can make a wine using corn, or a corn-based wine, or in fact, the corn-based wines are actually a thing. And all that we did was just simply add on to it and take it in a different direction.
I think it's great.
I think it's well
You did a great
executed.
job. Yeah. It was awesome.
Definitely good.
Thank you.
So I did a braggot where I treated corn. I did popcorn, and I treated it like a specialty grain. And then for the pepper, I went a little unconventional, so I kind of bent the rules. But I used tahini to salt the rim. There's a drink called a manganata, which is like mangoes and this red sauce called chamoy. And they have the rim salted with tahini. So I was kind of trying to go for that as the basic idea. But I've also had some beers at some places they were served, they called it loaded, where they would add the chamoy and they'd salt the rim with tahini and stuff. So I was kind of trying to capture that, but in this mead, since mango is one of our things and pepper is one of our things, and pepper's in the tahini.
I had to Google tahini. Oh, I see the advertising. They put it on like lattes.
Oh, yes, they
Oh, I've
do.
seen it before, yeah.
Yes, they do.
They even have a habanero tahini. I have one here that's really good too.
I'm back.
They sometimes put it on mangoes as well. Like it's a really solid choice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. So we have a popcorn mango braggot with chamoy and tahini on the rim. It's a little weird.
Okay.
Wow.
Unfortunately, some of my taste testing friends are not fans of the tahini on the rim, but you know, it was a really fun experiment.
How do you like it?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it, but you know, I'm the weird one sometimes. That the braggot by itself, without the tahini on it, has been very well received.
The batch that I've landed on is like finishing up primary. So there were some very significant setbacks. I did some really cool things with this one, and I do want to talk about it. So for my corn component, I made a giant batch of corn silk tea. So you take the silk from the corn, dry it out, chop it up, put it in cheesecloth, and put it in just under boiling water to steep.
Huh.
It takes like a cup of it per gallon. Well, you know, a tablespoon a cup. Like it's actually not that much if you were making tea, but when you're making a 3-gallon batch of mead, it adds up. And what's interesting is when I first made it, it smelled like a little vegetal, a little grassy. But as I smell it in the mead, like when I was off gassing and stuff, the whole mead smells like corn soup, like Mexican corn soup. It smells amazing.
Huh.
I'm
in a
really
good
here
way.
for it. I can't wait for it to be finished. I'm not going to back sweeten it, I don't think, because it smells really savory.
Uh-huh.
And I would really like to get that in the final product. I just did like slices of mango in primary, a mango per gallon, not too heavy, and some poblanos and habanero peppers. I would have gone with like ancho, which is just dried poblanos, and cascabel, but I could not find them. And like everything else had arrived, and I was like, the shooting schedule was such that I had to like brew that day. So it was basically what I could get my hands on. But it ended up smelling fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this one.
That's cool. That's next level stuff.
Mhm.
And part of it was me trying to research how much yeast available nitrogen was in corn silk. There's no research on it whatsoever.
I can
None.
imagine why.
So I treated the nutrient cycle like it didn't.
There'll be a lot of fiber in that, you'd think.
It's in a cheesecloth. It comes out. Most of it.
You don't eat it afterwards?
It's really fine.
Spent grain cookies. Spent silk. That sounds awesome. I'm hyped for your results on that. Nice. Jordan is in fast forward.
Crazy.
Am I making it last time now?
Yeah, time traveling. That's
I sure hope you zoom in on that in the video.
I just need to learn to control the skill, and I will be unstoppable.
Oh man.
while you're time traveling. How are turnip prices?
Not great. Not.
Dang.
So I had a really good experiment, I think. I went with a mango nectar base. And then 'cause I make a mango mead on a regular basis. I use mango nectar as the base to it. And I was like, okay, first time that I used a pepper, I used a couple jalapeno peppers. I was making a Dragon's Breath mead. And I put the peppers in primary and let them stay in for 30 days. When I pulled it out, it was pretty much all pepper. That's all you could taste. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna try doing jalapeno again. Spicy. But this time I only put it in, I only used one this time, and I only left it in for 10 days instead. But then for the corn, I went kind of unconventional. I went with caramel popcorn because I thought, you know what? Hey, the caramel will add additional sugars to it and see how that comes out. So I put that all into a brew bag, put it in with the mead using, I believe I was using EC 1118 yeast on there, added in my nutrients. I did not use raisins for nutrients though.
Oh my.
That's a sin. You should know better.
I did that on my first videos. I didn't know any better at the time. I said I put in the brew bag in for 10 days, held it in there for 10 days, pulled it out. Honestly, I think that this has become probably within the top 5 of my meads that I've made now. Garrett, to your question of what did I learn? One, don't leave the pepper in there, hot pepper in there for 30 days. Take it out 10 days after.
I'm a big fan. I like the heat. I like the sweetness. I think you did a good job balancing it. One thing I'm very curious about, and you'll have to tell me probably 6 months to 9 months from now, how does the jalapeno age? Does it become more vegetable or does it keep the heat? Because in my experience, I've had some jalapenos turn into really bell peppery brews and the heat goes away. So I'm curious what your experience is 9 months from now. So you'll have to tell me.
That'll be really good. I'm gonna have to do up a new batch of it.
You have to make more mead? Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, I gotta make more mead, twist my arm.
That's the grind.
I actually get the caramel from the popcorn. I actually get that aroma right off when you smell it. I was trying to figure out what it was, and now that you said it, that's all I smell now is the caramel. I get the heat that comes, the peppers that come in behind it, but the first note out of there is the caramel.
I think that caramel corn gives it a little bit of that corn mash kind of aromatic because of the sweetness that's in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. Well executed.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Oh, it's good. I liked it.
Good.
Like the longer I wait, the more anxious I get. It's like, I gotta talk soon. What did I do? I did the corn mashy thing where I cooked some corn cobs or whatever, and I used the water, and then I mashed them up real good, and I fermented them with a habanero, and I didn't add my mango until secondary, and I just used dried mango, which is crazy. I didn't back sweeten it, but whenever I get around to sending out bottles, it's really sweet. I mean, it's not like really sweet, but there was a lot of sugar that pulled from the dried mango, and I was very surprised by that. I was really confused. Like, wait, did I back sweeten this? It's kind of sweet, and I think looking back, like if I did it again, I would want to use actual mango pulp in primary and ferment on mango, and then probably add some more fresh and dried into secondary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's it. That's all I can really I have to say about it. It was fun. I don't know. I like it. I would be interested in doing it, making another round of that meat. But there was a ton of lease.
Do you feel like you got a good corn flavor out of it doing it that way? In the beginning, yes. I don't know about now, like how it's come through, because it was kind of masked by the mango. It was pretty good even when it was just corn and habanero. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting because it just tasted like a sweet creamed corn kind of flavor is what I got out of it. Huh. I don't know. It tasted like corn. It's like very simple and pleasant and smooth.
And the heat is like just right. I don't know how long I left the pepper in there. Not very long. I probably like a week or something. So it's cool because I feel like when you drink it, it kind of takes you a little bit on a roller coaster because it's like you get hit with the heat, and then the mango, and then the corn is at the very end that kind of trails out a little bit. I don't know. It's pleasant. I'd do it again.
What was your big lesson from it?
Fermenting on mango, like more mango. I wanted to be more subtle about it initially. I was like, I don't want it to be all mango, but looking back, I'm like, actually, yes, just put all the mango in it. And then the other two things, I don't know, but then maybe the corn would get hidden. It's a lot.
I will say that I felt like they were difficult ingredients to balance.
They're pretty polarizing.
Could it be a mead? Carlos?
Yeah. So, so this was definitely interesting. Go ahead and just pour it so everybody can see it. But
Yours was very interesting. When
Mine
I
is-
poured yours and it came out red, I'm going,
Color corn. How'd you get that color?
So, like we were talking in Discord at the very beginning of this, I posted the purple corn, and basically, like BC said, it's a chicha. So I chewed all the corn, spit it into it. I'm kidding.
you gave it that personal touch.
A little bit. No, so basically, I kind of mashed it. I started with the purple corn. It came on the cob, so I had to take all the kernels off, and then I, put them in a blender and just did a rough chop on them just to break the nuts, the shell of the corn out. And then I boiled them down for, I want to say, an hour and a half. And then I threw some amylase into there, after, trying to figure it out, see how they do, like corn whiskey, how they mash it out. Threw some amylase in there, let that finish boiling out. I think it was. I was up until like 2:00 in the morning one day when I finally decided I'm going to do it. I didn't realize how much time it was actually going to take. So, so I used purple corn, and then I used the mango nectar as well. After it finished boiling down, let the amylase kind of work through for like an hour, I think is what it said. And then to kind of rapidly cool everything before it started burning, because I used the old tamale pot, because that was the only way I could get all the corn in there. And so hopefully the tamale came through and pulled some extra corn out. But so I threw the mango nectar in there to help cool it real fast. And if you freeze habaneros and throw them in, it actually gives it a vegetal taste than the actual pepper taste. So it has kind of a vegetal taste to it, but
It's not bad though. Like habaneros are pretty fruity.
Yeah.
Peppers as is.
Yeah.
It's not the flavor I was expecting. It's got it's soft. Like
So juicy.
vanilla soft.
Yeah. The body on it's I use this a lot when I say juicy a lot, but it does feel, it just washes. It it doesn't cling too much, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I mean it's like a refreshing.
And then I ended up back sweetening it just a little bit to hopefully kind of get the mango back forward, because the pepper was a little up there. So I used the wildflower honey to kind of back sweeten it, kind of bring the mango back forward. Other people that had tried it had said they get almost not stale corn tortillas, but like right on the edge where tortillas are getting ready to get hard. The corn tortillas are getting ready to get hard. If you taste a corn tortilla right at that point, they said they get that corn. So I don't know. But off of the corn mash, the gravity started out at like 1.016 off of the corn. So by the time it was all said and done, I only ended up with 1.5 gallons because of all the corn sediment that came out from it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Great flavor to it. Nice little kick with it as well. So both my wife and I, we enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you.
So just like Charles and Mandy, well, John wasn't here. He was at sea, but I made like a corn water, and that I thought was going to be the direction I was going to go in, and it was all going to be fine and well. And I was going to make it just like a regular traditional mead. I don't know if it was the yeast I chose, or maybe it was the kind of honey I chose, or it's just the room was too hot, or whatever. It tasted like ass, and
Oh no.
Oh.
I don't know. Like we do the Tosna method with nutrition. Fermento, yeah. And so I did all the things that we do for our traditional mead, and I thought this is gonna be really cool. But it didn't taste good. So then I thought, okay, well maybe I'll just wait like a little while. Maybe it'll like taste better. I've never made anything with corn.
Yeah, I came home 4 months later.
4 months.
It was really bad.
So, because I had this idea, like I had lactose sugars, I was going to make it creamy, kind of like a corn ice cream. I've had corn ice cream and they either put like cinnamon on top or like cayenne pepper. So I was going to do something like sweet and soft and like with a really nice creamy mouthfeel. And since it tasted bad and I ran out of time, I was like, okay, what do I do? How do I salvage this? And so we ended up, what did I do? Oh my God. I opened a bottle of some of our traditional mead that we had aged in a corn whiskey barrel. So I, stole from Peter to pay Paul or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, we had made what we called the Leaky Barrel, because that was our first foray into barrel aging anything. And that barrel, it leaked like a sieve, and it just fell right out. And we had to like become, Google detectives about how to do barrel aging. And but we saved the mead, and we made 3 batches out of that barrel. It was Balcones from Texas, as a matter of fact, and it was a blue corn whiskey.
Yeah, so we opened them.
Well, just one.
We opened one.
Just one.
Sacrificed it for the Mead family.
Talk about a micro batch.
Yeah.
What we ended up doing was we made like this. We got mango puree, or not puree.
Yeah, puree.
Or like a syrup, Monin. They use it in like bars and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had like a habanero, Scotch bonnet, scorpion pepper hot sauce, and we made like.
Wow, you talk it up. It's mule sauce from Sticker Mule, where we get all of our stickers made.
Nice.
And I'm sorry I put everyone through the corn disaster. However, it seems like I was the only one who went down crashing and burning. So.
Hey, there's still time to tell. I'm in primary.
Technically, you did use the ingredients. The blue corn whiskey is the corn. It's the distilled. It's the very essence.
Yeah.
Yes. I got to tell you, Nina and John, Wendy and I, we both thoroughly enjoyed what you sent over to us. It was absolutely wonderful.
Cool.
So I just want to say thank you for that. That was just very nice. And yeah, we were like, wow, this is really good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. No worries.
It's definitely good. The mango comes in right on the end, right behind everything. The pepper is like right in between, but you can definitely tell that it's been aged for a decent amount of time, but it's well rounded. So I liked it. Thank you.
What did you do?
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not gonna let you be the next one. So I'm gonna make you finish this. You started this. You're the
He doesn't want to see failure after failure. That's all it is.
So Paul worked way harder than me. I think that's the truth of what I'm hearing. Because I took some of that Vintner's wine base, mango wine base.
That mango corn habanero wine base they make.
Yeah, absolutely. When y'all said it, I was like, dang, you know what I'm doing.
Just throw some honey in it and rebottle it.
Exactly. I took some of that mango wine base.
Just add water.
Enough will get on. Like 24, 25 ounces. Anyways, I put that with 2 pounds of honey, filled water up to a gallon, and then I put. Oh, I forgot I did this, but I used some washed or rinsed, whatever you want to call it, sake yeast as my yeast. And so I went ahead and did that, and it was I don't know why I did that, honestly. So
My eyes are watering.
you're about to, yeah, you're getting to my lesson. So that went through the primary, came out. I then put a pepper in for, I don't remember how long, clearly too long. And, and got this thing to be a little bit spicy.
Just
a little bit spicy.
Smidge.
After that, pulled the pepper out, and I realized pretty quick that it was pretty hot. And I decided, from the beginning, I wanted to use popcorn. And so I literally, I guess in some form or fashion, dry hopped with popcorn. So I popped unseasoned, no oil popcorn in a pot, put it into a brew bag, shoved it in the mead for like 2 weeks, and it just like soaked up flavor. And then pulled that off, and then back sweetened, stabilized, back sweetened, and I have this this right here.
That first sip, I was not prepared
It's pretty.
for the heat
My
level.
lesson I learned is that one, I say this in every video. I could probably go back and find 10 videos I've talked about making sure you taste test your stuff, especially with peppers regularly, and I guess I didn't do that enough because this guy is pretty hot. So
I don't think it's overly hot. I think it's just enough to make you go, oh my nose, okay.
Yeah.
That's like DC said, it tickles the back of the throat, but after that,
Walks right up to the line.
the weird thing to me is the aftertaste. At the very end,
It tastes like popcorn.
the popcorn, it has like when you eat popcorn, that residual feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It is
butter. It tastes like butter.
But there was no butter in the kernels. I don't understand the logic there. I used unbuttered, anything. So I had
The way it reminds me is like when you eat popcorn, and you get that one kernel or the skin that's stuck in the back of your throat.
Yes.
That's what it is. And it lingers.
I do have bottles. I just need to send them to you guys. I've been real lazy. That's my fault.
In the future, would you dry pop or would you wet pop next time?
Dude, I'm all about dry pop. Dry pop life forever. I mean, I'll dry pop every time.
This is not bad. I think this is well executed. I think if you're somebody who doesn't appreciate a lot of spice, you're going to be very jarred by your first sip of this. It gives you a little bit of whiplash. The mango is there. The mango shows up like a few minutes after you swallowed.
Yeah.
You can taste it on your breath. That's weird.
I guess my other lesson would be have a non-spicy friend to run your meads by to see where the spice level is, because I love heat. I know one of my favorite things is just scalding I'm sweating while eating something. That's like euphoric. So having somebody who's not that way to be your buffer was probably a good wise.
One of the first gifts I gave him was a big jar of fermented hot sauce that I made.
And I love that. I requested more.
I need to make more. The lesson that I learned from this was...
Start with the lesson, wow.
I'm going to start with the lesson. Is maybe you can't always necessarily trust your yeast to come back to life on bottle conditioning. Because this was relatively young. You can see there's just like a faint bit of fizz in there, but it did not bottle condition properly.
Mine did.
Did it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, hell, every bottle I've opened has not.
You must have got the bottom of it.
Must have got the good one. Well, you'll have to let me know how it is with proper fizz.
Yeah.
Every bottle I've opened has not bottle conditioned, and I didn't stabilize it or anything. I back sweetened it with erythritol and just put corn sugar, actually dextrose, in there to bottle condition. But I did the same thing as several of y'all. I did a corn mash with amylase enzyme that got the wash, so to speak, up to like 1.020, and then I started dumping in honey. I think I got up to like 1.080 with honey, and then after fermentation finished, still in primary, I dumped in frozen mango and hatch green chilies that I roasted on the grill prior. And
that's what that is.
And yeah, I modeled this off of, there's this hatch green chili beer that I had in New Mexico years ago that was so excellent, so well balanced with that big vegetable flavor playing against the malt, but the lack of carbonation on these, I think it leaves something to be desired to support those flavors, because it just kind of is a flat hatch green chili flavored mead with not a lot of corn flavor, and there's mango acid in there, but not a lot of mango flavor either.
So I don't know if it's just me just, tasting all the different corns, but I can get corn out of it. It's very faint. It's like, very, like, it's the last thing you get. The mango does come through, maybe a little bit more sweetness, would bring the mango full circle. But I was trying to pinpoint, I was like, all right, I know there's a pepper in here just because it's part of the ingredients, but I get a little bit of, a little bit of heat from it. But I'm like, there's something in there that I'm missing. But as soon as you said hatch green chili, I was like, there it is.
What do you think?
I think what you're saying is right. There's what we've all discovered, I feel like, is corn is a pretty delicate flavor, and you almost have to go overboard. And you're right, I don't get a ton of corn here.
I use 17 pounds of corn in a 5-gallon batch.
But we also
that I took off the cobs myself.
We have stacked it against arguably its greatest foe, which is
Doing the Most.
A spice. We've stacked it against peppers, which I mean, it's just like, of course it's going to get beat up. This is like the Hulk versus like a teddy bear. Like, we're not, who's going to win? Of course, the Hulk. So I think we've all discovered that same, called a woe. It's really not. It's just a truth that corn is a hard flavor. But I'm very impressed by what you guys have done. And, I jokingly said earlier, you guys worked harder than me. I mean it fully. You guys have done way above what I did and could do. And so I'm impressed. And everything I've tasted tonight has been fantastic.
And everything we've tasted tonight has tasted different, which I really appreciate. It's nice to kind of see the scope of what these ingredients and flavors can bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I had an absolute blast doing this with all of you guys and getting to know all of you as well in the process of this. This has just been a great time, great experiment, great project. Being there, thanks for pulling us all together and pulling us together to do this. This was just an awesome time.
Brainchild.
Cheers to you guys.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to do it again. I think there are ways where we could maybe simplify a little bit, maybe extend the time frame a little bit. Maybe after the holidays we can come together again, and maybe we don't fill it with a bunch of recorded Zoom meetings, but we all just kind of decide on the ingredients together. And
I'm up for a road trip, man. I got to get out of
Kalamazoo for a few days. Come down to Oklahoma City. It's beautiful here this time of year.
I got snow outside. I'm ready for warm weather already.
You probably noticed one of our mead makers was absent from the wrap-up. He had another commitment that night, but I did make sure that he sent in a video so we could learn a little bit about his experience too.
What I did was very reminiscent of chicha, the Mayan drink, where they would take corn and chew it and spit it into the pot, and then they would ferment that into their magic drink, whatever it was. But we don't have to chew and spit no more. Science has given us amylase enzyme, which I'm not sure if that's the same enzyme in your spit or if it's just a enzyme that does the same thing, but I use that instead of spitting in there. So I used the purple corn, mashed it, broke down all those complex sugars, and I mixed that with the honey and the guava nectar and some mango powder.
Mango powder?
Yes.
Just like dried and ground up mangoes?
Yes. It's the only ingredient on the package was mangoes. It was essentially just dried mango powdered, So when all that was done fermentating, I racked it into secondary, and I was ready to add the peppers, and it tasted weird at this point, just really weird. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, but you kept on wanting to drink it because it was such a weird flavor. You couldn't really quite place it. It wasn't sweet, but it wasn't dry either. I asked Holly to get the peppers for me, and when she got home with the peppers, I'm afraid I was very, very drunk. She brought home about 2 pounds of jalapenos. And I put every ounce of those 2 pounds of jalapenos in there. I cut them up and I put them in there. Then I passed out drunk somewhere. And
How large of a batch did you do?
5 gallons.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So after 3 or 4 days, I sobered up enough to rack it off of those jalapenos. And then it tasted nothing but jalapenos.
Yeah.
That's all you could taste was jalapenos. And it was, like, to me it's hot, but people who like spicy food won't really consider it too spicy.
At least you learned a lesson.
I did learn a lesson. And you know what? It's not really too bad either. Like, the first time you drink it, you're like, I don't think I'll drink this anymore. But once you, like, acquire a taste for it, like I did, then it's actually rather yummy.
That works. I really like the whole concept of it, though. I have been watching the other videos, and I hope this is kind of like a recurring thing. It's just really neat to see.
Again, I hope you enjoyed the Great Mead Project. We have some really interesting ideas at how we could expand it out to a broader audience, include more brew tubers, include more mead makers in general, maybe make the list of ingredients public well ahead of time so everyone could brew along with us. So stay tuned to all of the mead channels involved in this collab, and make sure you subscribe to everybody who is a part of this project. They all work their tails off for some really interesting mead brews, all very different, and they and we would all appreciate your support as we all go forward into our BrewTube adventures. Until next time, happy brewing and cheers.